Hello students, today we will discuss about a basic concept of object-oriented programming. So before that in the last class we have discussed about a procedure programming. So procedure programming is about writing a procedure or a functions that perform for the operations on the data. So while object-oriented programming is about to create for the object that contain both data and functions. So object-oriented program have several advantages over procedural languages. So OOPS is a faster and easy to execute. OOPS provides a clear structure of the program. So today we will discuss about what are the basic concepts which are available in a C++ programming. So these are the list of the basic concept, that is a class, object, data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, overloading, polymorphism, data mining, and a message passing. So today we will discuss about one by one. So first one is a class. So the object can be made user-defined data type with the help of a class. So the class is a collection of objects that have an identical properties, common behavior, and a shaped relationship. So the class build a block of C++ that lead on object-oriented programming in a class. It is a user-defined data type, which is holded for the own data members and a member functions, which can be accessed and used by the created and instance of the class. A class is a blueprint of an object. For example, we have a consider as a class of cars. So there may be many cars which is different names and brands, but all of them will be share some common properties like four wheels, speed limitation, and a mileage, all those things, etc. So here the car is a class, and the wheel, speed, limit, mileage, these are the properties. So the class is a user-defined data type that contain a data member and a member function. So the data members are the data variables and a member functions are the functions used to manipulate these variables together. The data members and a member functions define the properties and behavior of the object oriented in a class. So in example, a class car, the data member will be a speed limit, mileage, etc. So the member function can also apply for the brake, increase the speed, all those things. So here they have a contained for the class, they have a user defined data type that hold it for the data on a functions here. So here they have a list of various kind of functions which are available up to a function 1 up to function n. So here they have a same thing contained for the data 1 up to data n, which means here they have a contained for the data member and a member functions. So next we will discuss about an objects. So objects are basic building blocks of the designing programs. So object, it is going to a collection of data members and associated with the member functions. So object may be represented for the person, place, or table or the data. So the object is an identical entity which is some characteristics and a behavior. So an object is an instance of a class. When a class is defined, so no memory is allocated. But when it is initiated, an object is created, so memory is allocated. So object take up a space for the memory and have an association with an address like a record in a Pascal or a procedure or union. So when a program is executed, the object interact by the sending message to another. So each object contained for the data and a coding to manipulate the data. So object inherit with have to know details of each other data or code. It is sufficient to know the type of message accept and the type of responsible written by the object. So here which is student is an object. So the member data which can contain of the student details like in a student name, register number, course. So these all are the things we have call it as a data members. In a member function here we're going to get a data of a student, so and then display it. So these all are the content of the member functions. So in object which contain it for the data member and a member functions. Next we will discuss about for the data encapsulation. So the wrap of the data and the functions into a single unit, it is called it as a data encapsulation. So the data encapsulation enable the data hiding and information hiding. So the data hiding is method of use to object-oriented programming to hide the information. So here the encapsulation is defined for the wrap of data and information under the single unit. So in object-oriented programming, encapsulation is defined by the binding together the data and functions that manipulate them, and going to consider for the real-time example of encapsulation. So in a company, there are different sections like an account section, finance section, a sales section, etc. So the finance section handle all the financial transaction, all keeps recorded for the all the data related to the finance. So similarly, the sales section contains for the all sales related activities, and they have to keep the record of the all the sales. So now they have a many reason situation when we have some reason and official from a finance section needs all the data about the sales is particular month. So in case, but it not allow for the direct access of the data of the sales section. So he will be first having a contact which is contained for the other office, that is a sales section, and deploy to represent. Next, we will discuss about the data abstraction. So data abstraction refers to the process of responding the essential features without including the background details or explanations. So data abstraction is one of the most essential and important feature of an object-oriented programming in C++. So abstraction means displaying on the essential information and hiding the details. So the data abstractions refers to provide only essential information about the data to the outside the world. So hide the background details or implementation. So consider a real-time example of a man driving a car. So the man only know that they have to press the accelerator, it will be increase the speed of the car, or applying the brake, it will stop the car, but he does not know how the press the accelerator to speed actually increasing. So he does not know about it for the inner mechanism of the car or the implementation of the accelerator, brake, etc. So here which is contained for the abstraction using classes, abstraction using header files. So in abstraction using classes, we're going to implement it for the abstraction in a C++ using a classes. So here they have a class help to group of data members and a member functions using available access specifiers. So next one is an abstraction in a header file. So one more type of an abstraction in a C++ programming can be header file. For example, consider a pow method that presented in a math.h header file. So whenever we need to calculate the power of the number, we simply call the function pow, which means present it for the math.h header file, and pass the number as argument with knowing the underlying. So next we will discuss about a polymorphism. So the ability of an operator and a function to take a multiple form is known as a polymorphism. So the word polymorphism have a means have a many forms. So in a simple word, we have defined a polymorphism as an ability to or message to display for in a more than a one form. So a person at the same time can have a different characteristics. A man at the same time is a father, a husband, and an employee. So the same person possesses a different behavior in a different situation. So this is called it as a polymorphism. An operator may be exhibit different behavior in a different instance. So the behavior depends upon a type of a data used in an operator. So here we have take it as an example of a shape which contain it for the common property of a drawing. So here we have to categorize for the different form in a triangle, rectangle, etc. So next we will discuss about it for the inheritance. So the inheritance is a process which is one object can occur and they have a properties of another class. So here they have a capability of a class. They go in and derive the properties and characteristics from another class is called as an inheritance. So the inheritance is the most important feature of an object-oriented programming, which is we have called it as a base class, derived class. The class that can inherit the property from another class is called as a subclass or derived class. So the class which properties have inherited by the subclass is called as a base class or superclass. So which is mostly for the reusability. So inheritance support the concept of reusability For example, when we want to create a new class and they have already a class which is included for the some of the coding that we want. So we can derive our new class from an existing class by doing, we have to resume the field and method of existing class. For example, we have a take it as an animal as a class. Here we have a get it like in a dog of a class and a cat of the class and a cow of the class. So here they have a base class which is how the commune derived. So this is a concept of an inheritance. Next we will discuss about it for the data mining. So in a data mining, the code will be executed and responsible to function call is decided in a runtime. So C++ have a virtual function to support this because the dynamic binding is flexible. It is avoid the drawback of static binding, which is connected the function called the definition and a build at a time. So next one is a message passing. So here they have a process is done by sending the message to an object. A message for an object is request for the execution of procedure. So object communicate with one another by sending and receiving an information. So a message for an object is a request for the execution of the procedure, and therefore it will be invoke a function retrieving the object that generated for the desired result. So the message passing invoke the specific the name of the object. So the name of the function and the information that to be sent.